Next Sunday's NFC title game will be the third postseason meeting between the Lions and the Niners. I don't expect many of you are familiar with the history, so let's revisit it. Kezar Stadium, 1957, sure. Y.A. Tittle helped the Niners build a 24-7 halftime lead. In the second half, all Detroit. The Lions.
You had the over that day?
I did not. Wasn't involved.
You would have won.
Lions would go on to crush the Browns 59-14 in the title game. It remains their last NFC championship. This is before HD.
Was it?
No Twitter. That guy's angry. I don't know who that is.
Sand knit jerseys.
83. Yosemite Sam out there with a weapon. This time it was the Lions who held the lead 23-17. Joe Montana led a 70-yard drive, which ended with a go-ahead touchdown to Freddie Solomon. Detroit mounts a late drive of their own, but head coach Monty Clark's prayers weren't answered. Eddie Murray, this guy was a good kicker. Wide right. Bill Walsh and the Niners hold on 24-23. They would lose the following week, though, in Washington. And now 40 years later, Lions, Niners, for a third time. The Lions still haven't won a road playoff game since that comeback win in 57 we just showed you. As for the scene in the locker room, I said to Amon-Ra, we're not in that room. We don't know. Well, now we're going to see what it's like. The fired up dude right
here. You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you, we talked about it all year. This started a long time ago. You're built for this. You're built for this, man. And look what you guys did. You went out there, and it's another hot team that we knocked off. It's the next hot team that you knock off. Do you know how hard it is to win this league in the playoffs? Do you understand what you're doing right now? What we're capable of? That's two. All right, that's two. We got two to go. With a bye in the middle.
Stanford, we lost Stanford, Steve. He's out headbutting brick walls. Tim's back. Looking ahead to next weekend, and it's interesting. If Kansas City and Detroit win, the last game of the year is a rematch of the first game of the year, which J-Mac mentioned in my ear. Hadn't even connected those dots. I'm interested in the Detroit play calling. They had 3 touchdowns in a row against the Rams. They had 3 in a row in this one. Their OC, Ben Johnson, was a busy fella this week. Had like 4 interviews in and around a game. Finally had to tell Atlanta, look, I'm out of time. We got a game. In terms of his play calling, is it scheme? Is it personnel? Like, what is it? And what is it about what he does that's working so well?
I think he has natural creativity, which is important. So he has that. And then I think does a great job of timing things up. This is a good example, this run right here. It's a little bit of a wind back run that they bounce. Then you get in the red zone. It's just a simple high-low concept, but how they attack it's important. And then, we get a critical situation. And when you think it looks like run, it smells like run, it tastes like run, and here's the tight end, leak play. And so I just think that some guys have a knack for being able to call something when it needs to be called. We've watched enough Lions games this year where you're like, there's no one near that guy. How'd they get him so wide open? I think sometimes, certain play callers, and sometimes it's being empowered by their head coach to, be aggressive. You have a trick play you want to dial up right now, go ahead and do it.
Concerned, though, about the defense that they're going to have to go up against in San Francisco?
Yeah, for sure there is. And how that offensive line, which is banged up, will hold up matters.
All right, let's pivot to Baltimore. We got about a minute here. The quarterbacks are going to get all the attention. It's Mahomes, it's Lamar. We know he's got pressure. But this Baltimore defense led the NFL takeaways, sacks, fewest points allowed. Are they built to bottle up a Kansas City offense that looked better in this game than they had recently?
I think they are, because all year long we've talked about Kansas City struggling to throw the football. You need to be able to run it. Well, let's look at this past weekend and the inability to run it. We saw Houston, who had done a pretty decent job running the football parts of the year. They had no shot. And it's guys, Scott, which is amazing, like Jadeveon Clowney. Guys that people don't think, hey, you're stepping up. Kyle Van Noy, who was, for many people, an afterthought signing. What Mike McDonald has done and what the job that defense has done, how hard they play, I just think that the inability to run the football for Kansas City is going to be a problem for them in the matchup.
That Texans team the week before, granted, they had a couple of defensive scores, but they were as hot as you could be. Like, they didn't have an offensive touchdown. They played 2 games against Baltimore and had 0 offensive touchdowns. Obviously, Kansas City presents a different test. Tim, we appreciate it. We'll talk next week, and we'll have our Super Bowl matchup.